In this latest update, alongside Egbert's Awakening and Marjorie's weapon being added into the weapon list, another change that we can see is the reward changes for both Alliance Conquest and Siege of Winterfell's regular season. So the reward system is the exact same for both of them. You can see here is the Alliance point ranking reward, so this is your placement effectively for points at the end of the regular season. Then these are the elimination rewards, just to show Siege of Winterfell 2. It is the exact same values all the way down, exact same distributions, just for a different castle skin instead. Now this is a very big change for a few reasons. So first of all, and most importantly in my opinion, it's making the regular seasons of these events more important than they were previously, which was required in my opinion, because you'd often see complaints about the rewards to individual matches just being not worth it at all, considering what you got back out of them as rewards. Whereas now every match you work towards, you use speed ups in, use diamonds in to try and win, it will all be in a group effort trying to get more and more of these castle fragments to unlock these castle skins. And even if you don't actively use these as active skins, they will of course have passive stats and army size passively attached to them, which is the most sought after stat typically on castle skins. And if you finish in second for AC on the regular season 4 times in a row for 4 consecutive seasons, you should have the skin fully unlocked immediately. So it makes the fillers of these alliances, which are using everything they have in their account, just as rewarded as those who are going in as the top rally leaders of their alliance, which, in my opinion, is a very positive change. Anything that creates more of a atmosphere of teamwork, grouping together, or just a sense of togetherness and unity within your alliance is a really positive thing, in my opinion, because it makes winning the priority more so than chasing eliminations. And that's the second part of this, is it makes elimination chasing, and indirectly through that, farming and feeding, less relevant, both because you will receive less castle fragments because of it, and only the top 10 are going to be getting any fragments at all, and it's a very marginal amount compared to the placement rewards. But now helping your alliance win to secure better positioning on the final leaderboard of these events should, in my opinion at least, outweigh chasing eliminations for your own personal points, because you'll be getting more fragments if you put your effort into trying to win instead. Of course, there typically is overlap between this. If you're getting tons of eliminations, you will be helping your alliance win through that normally, but not necessarily. Like in AC, if you want to be soloing people out of buildings and you get disbanded on, for example, and you get stuck in the building, if your only goal is eliminations, what you can often see is these top accounts just disbanding it and effectively losing their alliance, that building, just so they can keep farming more and more elims. But these top ranks that could potentially still be in existence, but not to the extent it was previously. With these castle fragments being more equally distributed now, it will help reduce the power curve of the top accounts too, which in my opinion is a positive, because having the top accounts get so far out of reach from the mid-tier accounts is always a bad thing, because it just stops promoting people playing the game effectively, because it's not possible to fight into those top accounts in any way. And another positive that I personally really like is it puts a lot more emphasis on the importance of Siege of Winterfell, since now your placement will indirectly be providing you account strength. So I would imagine people will try at least a little harder potentially. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a gap between these top 10 spots and the 30th spot, because you don't necessarily have to go all out, and there only being 3 fragments difference between 4th and 30th doesn't justify the difference in what you have to put in to create that rank difference. And these rank differences are going to become, in my opinion at least, the new variable that's manipulated in a similar way that eliminations were. So with eliminations, you got rewards for more eliminations you had, so people went out and thought, right, how do I funnel as many elims onto me to secure this castle for me or my alliance? And what would happen is a lot of feeding would happen. You could come to agreements with the alliance you know you're going to face. You can put potentially your own player from your alliance into that alliance you know you're going to face, and then have all your own players suicide onto them to just skyrocket their elims. You could have players jump around to very kill-heavy matches where both alliances would keep fighting and keep healing to prevent them from having dead matches where one alliance would just get stomped and sit in spawn so they couldn't kill anything. So people are really going out of their way to manage and maximize the amount of eliminations they could get onto the players they wanted these castle skins on. Now that variable is going to be your points, and we're all humans. We all have our own priorities and goals. So that manipulation is still going to go on. That's just the reality of it. It's just going to shift the goalposts and how that manipulation is done. So I think it's going to be 2 primary factors, or maybe 3, where this is going to be seen going on. 1, you can artificially inflate your alliance score before you register for that first match of the season, because the gap in initial points is so big. I think first in score starts at 4,200 initial points, and third starts at 3,600, or maybe fourth starts at 3,600. It's a huge gap, which covers like 2 wins in the equivalent points. So if you start the season either first or second in alliance score, that's indirectly going to help you get more of these fragments for your alliance. So I think there's going to be some telling free-to-play players to leave temporarily, stock in friends or alts of higher score temporarily, register, then swap them out again. If you're really looking to min-max these fragments, I think there's going to be more dodging as well. 7 AM in particular has like no one playing it. It's basically just KAC. And of course, if the priority before was elims, typically that wasn't a great match to have if you're in one of these higher level alliances at least. I'm not entirely sure where the 7 AM bracket stacks up from one mid-tier alliances, but now I think there'll be a lot more dodging. Like if you're at 1900 and you're playing into N3O, you're gonna lose. No matter, I don't care who you are, you will lose that match in Siege of Winterfell. So you can either take that loss and indirectly lose your alliance castle fragments, basically, or you could say dodge to 7 AM and have potentially a free win. That decision alone could be a swing if you count the points you'd lose in that hypothetical M3O match compared to the net gain of not losing those points and gaining the 350 or so for a win. It's about a swing of 450 points, so dodging will be a lot more prominent. If you can predict a WXC FDH match at 1 AM, dodging into 1 AM could be quite popular. There's no, for Siege of Winterfell at least, no juggernauts playing at 1300 really, with WTP moving out, Dep typically having a lack of players throughout anything but the AC season because of the realities of their strategies when it comes to temporary joiners for UC. So you can do a lot of things with swapping out of certain time slots to help you get more beneficial matches, and I do think that'll be a lot more prominent. And the third point, which might come into play, but has some impracticalities in itself, is in a similar way that players have historically temporarily joined other alliances for UC. Like a lot of people join ATD or DEP through UC because they want the rewards, they want the 100% army increases and whatnot, because you're pretty much guaranteed to get it, historically at least, in ATD. I'm not sure that's going to be the case this next season. Probably will be, but we'll see. I think something similar to that might start happening in Siege of Winterfell, because if you join M3O and the current state of things, you're basically guaranteed 30 fragments. And if you're in an alliance down here, like if you're in Ash, if you're Barrack and Ash, just as an example, you do have that decision to make where you can help Ash get more fragments through their placement, or you can secure more fragments for yourself by going it elsewhere to somewhere more guaranteed. Logistically, that can be quite difficult because, of course, the alliance you temporarily join will need open spots to enable that. I believe also the way it reads, at least, is there's no match limits. Like, you can just play 5 matches in your own alliance and then join another alliance and get their alliance point ranking rewards from that 6th match and sort of just leech off them. So there could be a lot of jumping for that last match, potentially, particularly if there's like a contested match for placement and everyone's going all out and recruiting for it. And in leadership, in some of these top alliances, there could be decisions to be made there. Like if you're FDH versus WXC and you're in that 6th match, and WXC, for example, has a free-to-play filler who can't attend the match, and they have a max account saying, I'm happy to join because I'll get 25 fragments if you win or something, maybe they'll temporarily remove that filler for the max account to help secure the rest of the alliance those fragments, because they could potentially drop down in the ranks if they don't win that match. I think there'll be a lot more of those sorts of matches, particularly in Siege of Winterfell. In AC, it's a lot more difficult, obviously, with the UC lock, because you can't just temporarily join somewhere for one match in UC. You're going to be stuck there. But we see that happening historically anyway, so it might just promote that happening even more than before, because there's both AC regular season rewards like this and UC rewards like this also. So AC, if you finish first, you'll get 30. If you win UC, you will get 30 of these. And this is actually a different skin to the regular season one. So this is Dragon's Peak, and normal regular season is Dragon's Crown. So you can double up, and I can very much envision jumping into that top alliance for the last match, becoming more popular than it's ever been before in the game for every single event season. And I'm not sure that's necessarily positive, because that would make players a lot more mercenary-like in their behavior, doesn't promote community, doesn't promote teamwork in my opinion. So I don't love that. But all in all, I do think it is a positive change. I think it was a very needed change as well, because the elimination chasing stuff was getting a bit ridiculous. Now hopefully it's a much healthier playing field for everyone involved, and those players who can't afford to rank high in those top elimination rankings can still get rewarded for all the effort, all the time, all the resources on their account that they put into winning efforts, because no one, no matter what you're doing in this game, can win alone. Not at these top levels, at least.